TYT Sports, we bring in Robert Exel, the editor-in-chief of boxing.com. Robert, haven't talked to you in a while. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself, Rick?
I'm doing well. So, Floyd Mayweather obviously has this not necessarily intolerable, but humongous ego, and he has known to toy with the media in the past. With that being said, he sent out this tweet this morning. The negotiations for my fight are almost done. The front runner is IBF champ Devon Alexander. It'd be a unification bout at welterweight. Now, he is 43-0 with 26 knockouts, a 5-division champ. What exactly was your initial reaction when you read this tweet?
Well, my initial reaction was to sort of hold my nose. I don't want to see him fight Devon Alexander. I don't know anybody who, in fact, wants to see him fight Devon Alexander. Just because Mayweather tweeted it, of course, doesn't make it so. It may be a negotiating ploy in his, because I know he is negotiating with several fighters, supposedly. So it may be a negotiating ploy to sort of get Robert Guerrero at the proper price. But we don't really know. And as you say, Floyd is a master at playing the media. I mean, he is in control of his game much as he's in control of the media.
Let's talk about Devon Alexander right now, and we'll get to Robert Guerrero in a moment. Now, Alexander is the younger fighter. He's 25 years old. He has one loss on his resume, the Timothy Bradley fight, and since that loss, he is 3-0 with wins over Lucas Matisse, Marcos Maidana, which was 10 rounds. You never know what could have happened if it was 12, but it was 10 rounds, and that was the most convincing win I've ever seen in Devon Alexander's career over a named opponent, and then Randall Bailey. So let me ask you this. According to the Telegraph, this article came out about an hour ago. Let me read you a bit of that. From Gareth A. Davies, a good writer, said Alexander, as IBF champ, obligated to fight the mandatory challenger, Kell Brook. Of course, he pulled out of that fight because of a bicep injury. The only way Alexander could have even tried for a unification fight with Mayweather Jr. would have been to have got exemption from the IBF within 90 days of his last fight on October 20th. Obviously, that has not happened. So in order to fight Mayweather, let me just get this straight, and you could fill in the holes for me and some of the audience. Basically, what Davies is saying is that because he did not put in this formal request, he is not allowed to necessarily fight Mayweather yet. He can in the future, but he has to fight Kell Brook as the mandatory challenger if he wants to keep his belt. So if he doesn't want to keep his belt, he could just vacate it and go fight Mayweather. I mean, fill me in on this.
Well, that's the possibility. I mean, it's a gigantic payday. It would be hard to turn down that payday. Perhaps Alexander thinks that he can beat Mayweather, even though nobody else seems to believe that he can beat Mayweather. And it would also suggest that the injury, his ostensible injury, was something that was feigned, something that wasn't genuine. We don't really know that. I mean, there's a lot of hoops to jump through to reach that conclusion. But it's a chance of a lifetime for him. Both he and Mayweather are advised by Al Heyman, who is, as you know, the wizard behind the curtain in The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. And it would make sense that that two Heyman fighters would fight each other. It would be in Heyman's best interests, if not necessarily in boxing's best interest.
Now again, Alexander, 25 years old, 24-1 with 13 knockouts from St. Louis. An up-and-coming fighter, but again, not what everyone wants to see. And I mean, as boxing fans, we can all relate to that. Now let me ask you this. It was scheduled to be, at least, on May 4th at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. May 4th. Now, obviously, prior to Cinco de Mayo, it would be a huge event to fight a Mexican star. Granted, he is Mexican-American, a Mexican star in Robert Guerrero. Obviously, nothing is ever set in stone, but wouldn't that be a better fight because of his last win? Very, very convincing win over Andre Berto.
It would be a better fight, and it's a fight that I think Guerrero has earned, and he earned it the hard way. He has been calling out Mayweather for years. As you know, he has moved up in weight, Guerrero. He is now a full-fledged welterweight, and he is a serious fighter. There is no quit in him, whereas if we look back to Alexander for a moment, we do know there's some quit in Alexander. I would love to see the Guerrero fight. Failing that, I would love to see him fight Canelo. I think that might be the contest to beat all contests, but that seems even less likely at the moment than him fighting Guerrero.
Wouldn't you rather, take a fight against a James Kirkland, which is not a for sure win, but I would think he would win, and maybe put him up against a lesser opponent than James Kirkland, improved that much more, age Mayweather another year, and then have that humongous payday on possibly another Cinco de Mayo fight in Vegas?
No, I think you're reading Golden Boy's mind. I think that's exactly what they plan on doing. And yet, Canelo keeps chomping at the bit. I mean, he thinks he's ready for Mayweather. I don't think he's ready for Mayweather. But I think you've read Golden Boy's mind. I think that's the plan, which is to hold him back, let him fight people who are credible but not world class necessarily. And when he improves enough, if he ever improves enough, and as Mayweather ages, which we know he will age, perhaps that contest will be more viable down the road.
So let me ask you this very quickly as we close up shop here. You know, look into your crystal ball, Robert Exel. I mean, just give us a prediction. Who exactly will he fight?